Hi, Asal. I'm so happy to have you today joining the MOOC community conversation. And I think you have a lot to say about the MOOC community.
Thank you, Faye, for having me. Sorry to interrupt there, but I'm just very excited to be here today.
You know what, Asal, I know some of our participants may know you already from the previous MOOCs we do together, but most of our course participants are very new to social MOOC. So could you give a brief introduction on what type of human services you provide? In particular, what are the ones that you offer through social MOOCs?
Yes, of course, I can speak to that.
When I first started working on MOOCs, I was working with newcomers to Canada and helping them find employment. Currently, I am an online youth employment specialist. I work with CultureLink's Youth Online Employment Strategy, which is a pre employment initiative that teaches young people how to market themselves in today's digital age. This program focuses on helping young people build positive professional digital profiles and create innovative new media-based resumes to give them a competitive edge in today's very competitive job market. And we offer this program both in class and online as a MOOC. I have been very fortunate to have had the opportunity to work on a couple of different MOOCs with CultureLink. The first MOOC I worked on was the LinkedIn MOOC, which was actually the first MOOC to be offered by a Canadian community organization, something that I myself am very proud of. This MOOC ran for 2 iterations, and its purpose was to help newcomers access the Canadian labor market. I've worked on another MOOC, which is the Next Gen Resume MOOC, and this is the MOOC that I'm currently working on. And this MOOC is to help young people sort of explore careers and find jobs. I've worked both as a course designer and as an instructor, so I understand the MOOC from both perspectives. And I find that MOOCs are very effective for me as a tool to help my clients in their employment endeavors.
This is very interesting, and especially the next gen MOOC thing that after you have ran it twice online, and I noticed you moved it offline and made it a blended model. I'm very curious, what is the reason behind the decision of making it a blended course?
The wonderful thing about MOOCs is that they're massive and open online courses, which means that you have lots of people from all around the world, from various professions and backgrounds taking this course. And, oftentimes you'll find that the people you intended the course for are not necessarily people who are the most active in the course. That's what happened with our Next Gen Resume MOOC. Our MOOC was geared towards young people, but we found that although young people were really excited about this course material and, a lot of them enrolled in it, they were not the most active participants, and they needed more hands-on in-person support. So we decided to offer a blended online in-person course, which has actually proven to be very beneficial. By taking the information and resources we created for this MOOC and bringing it to the classroom, it makes the information much more accessible for the young person. It also makes for a much more interactive and dynamic workshops. The reason being is that I refer back to the course instructional videos, play clips from them, and then give the youth an opportunity to discuss. Aside from these benefits, there's a lot of other benefits to having a blended model. There's the one-on-one support aspect of it, being in person, and young people seem to really enjoy that. Another reason is that within a workshop setting, you have a limited amount of time. And so this gives the young people an opportunity to go somewhere outside of the classroom to learn and get support, because sometimes, we can't cover everything. Also, if someone is late, for example, or they miss a class, this is an opportunity for them to, go online and sort of catch up on any sort of materials that we haven't touched upon. Aside from that, it's also really beneficial as a facilitator because, being up in front of a bunch of people speaking all the time, it can be sort of exhausting. And so this gives you the chance to kind of step back, play clips of yourself or whoever else kind of sharing the same information that you want to be sharing with your class participants, but also, for you to take a step back and sort of analyze and see what people are thinking, watch their expressions, and then have an opportunity to discuss it and get feedback. So for those reasons, I think that a blended model works very well, especially for young people.
Wow, I can see that work very well with young people. But I believe many of our course aspiring social MOOC producers are also producing MOOCs geared towards older people, mature participants. How would that blended model apply to a MOOC community made of predominantly older people or mature participants, or just service providers like you and me?
I definitely think that this model will work very well for older, more mature students, as well as service providers who are taking it for professional development purposes. The only challenge I see with this group of people is the space and time commitments of these individuals. So the application of it might be a bit different. I think what will work very well for this group of learners, what would be encouraging learners to take on leadership roles and organize in-person sessions where learners in the same neighborhood or area can meet in public spaces, maybe a library or coffee shop, to discuss topics and most importantly to network, because I know that's very valuable. And what's even better is to encourage people to then go and share their experiences in these sort of one-off in-person sessions with the online MOOC community, post it to the discussion boards. And I think this will really help sort of build and strengthen the MOOC community.
Well, exactly. Networking is very important to the community building of a MOOC community, and I'm very glad you mentioned that. I've learned a lot from you already. I'm pretty sure our audience is now itching to apply some of the learnings on their own MOOCs, probably using some existing MOOCs. What kind of advice you would give to them before they start practicing on blended model?
So I think the most important thing to do here is to use what you have. There's no point in reinventing the wheel. You already have all these great resources, so rely on them and use them. Also remember that in a blended classroom, you don't have the opportunity to cover everything. So you need to figure out what pieces would work best to be taught in person and what pieces you can refer them on to the online course for. And you can assign or direct people to the MOOC to learn more about those specific topics. When it comes to like showing videos in the classroom setting, make sure you're not showing the whole video, that you're showing short clips. Because remember, they can always go online and watch the full video if they need more information. And I think a really valuable use of time is spending some time orienting the class with the online platform so they understand how it works and the benefits of it. I find that this is very beneficial when I'm working with youth. Another thing that I want to say is take advantage of the in-class opportunity to ask questions and get feedback and provide opportunities for networking, especially if you're working with service providers for professional development purposes. Don't forget to encourage and motivate people to go back online. This is, remember, a blended course, so you want to, work together with the online course that you have. So encourage people to go back online and share their experiences. Post, whatever it is that you've asked them to complete so that other learners from around the world can benefit from the blended model as well. Also, because it is an online course, as I mentioned, it's massive and it's open. There's lots of opportunities to learn from each other, and that's one of the reasons I really like MOOCs, is the community that it provides. So by encouraging people to go back online, you're encouraging people to have really great discussions, share resources, things that you might not have even thought about yourself as an instructor. There have been instances in the past where learners have actually taught me stuff as well. So it's very much a give and take kind of relationship with a MOOC. So even though you're doing it in class, it's also important to encourage people to go back online and sort of keep that circle going.
Wow, Asal, I'm so glad you provided so much learning and experience of your own to this course, and sharing your perspectives of a blended model and your very important advice to us. And I'm pretty sure all our course learners, our MOOC community members have benefited a lot from today's interview. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Thank you, Faye, for having me. It's been a pleasure, and I really look forward to seeing all the MOOCs that your learners are going to produce, and hopefully we will have a chance to work on more MOOCs together.
Oh, definitely, we will.